Alrighty, hey guys, welcome to the channel, welcome to my stream, welcome to chapter 2, working on this guy right here. That's Dominic's 1970 Charger from the Fast and Furious movie, part 1. So, let's get into it. Alright, so, we didn't really get a lot done last time. I'm here with my nice fresh cup of coffee. Got my shirt on, got my bloodshot eye. Yeah, working on this thing. We're gonna get this engine together hopefully today. Yeah, I got some bits and pieces to get out of the way here. Let's see. So, I got the engine painted, and I got some spark plug wires on, and I got the blower put on. I'll change the camera here, and I'll show you, get a better idea of what I have done. Okay, did all this off camera. So, painted the engine in gloss aluminum, and then after that, I took a black pin wash and give it a little bit of a wash just to make a little bit of the detail pop on this little engine here. Okay. Then I did install the distributor cap. You saw that last time. But after that, I took some spark plug wires. I took these guys. I got these. Okay. Scale production. This actually comes with a distributor. V8 distributor and ignition wire, so I just cut some lengths. I just kind of did a rough measurement from the distributor around to the very last, that's be the furthest one, and so sorry giving you the finger there. To the very last one, and then I just did cut 8 of them off. I did also do one for the coil from the distributor. That'll be the center one to the coil. It's kind of hard to see under there, and that's kind of good. I like that you don't get to see everything, because I know it's there, and you can see the one center wire sticking up right there, and it goes underneath, and that's all you need. That's fine. I do have 2 wires that kind of came off, so I got to re-glue these back on. I also took my pin vise, and I drilled through each spark plug hole in top of the valve covers. So I'll actually be able to put the wire in the hole a little bit, and that'll help keep it secure. On the distributor cap, all I did was just glue the wire just on top of the little, you got your little nubs sticking up like this, and I just glued the wire just on top like that on each one. So they are a little bit fragile. They might come off while I'm trying to bend them, but that's okay. I just need to put more glue on there. Okay. The other thing that I did on this off camera is at the top of the blower here, I did 4 holes on each side with the pin vise, drilled them right through like this, just like that, okay, on each side, and that's going to be our fuel injection lines that I'm going to put on there before I put the top of the intake on there. I think fuel injection lines are kind of a neat added detail that I think they probably could do in the molding process. So they could do as a model manufacturer. They could do fuel injection lines. They do other things that are simpler in detail, and but they never do it. But it is something that kind of adds a little realistic detail to it. Otherwise, you're just wondering, how does the fuel ever get to this thing? They're big enough, and they're up on top, and you always see them on real cars, So it's just a little extra something, Anyway, so I gotta get some more CA glue. Let me get this ready. Get this ready. Some CA glue. And I'm going to want the accelerator out pair of glasses. All right. I might need my applicator, I might not. Because one thing that we can do is kind of help it out by holding the wires here so that we don't get too much tension on the distributor where they're connected, right? So I'm going to take the longest one and he's going to go first, okay? Bend them like this. Bend this one here, and bend this one. Okay, so I only got 3 obviously, so I need the 4th. That's what this one's going to come in. Okay. So we got a bit of a bend. I'm going to do kind of a similar thing with this side. This one's a little bit more tricky because we've got the distributor where they're connected right there. I want to hold them down if I can when I bend them up. This one I think would be kind of coming up like this. Tweezers help in bending these and getting them exactly where they're supposed to go, but they're not 100% necessary. They just really do help out a lot. Again, I've only got 3 on this side. So none of these are really long enough unless I bring them straight back. That's okay. Alright, so I'm going to use my applicator. I'm going to put some CA glue right in the hole there, or right on it anyway. The other thing you could do is just put it on the end of the wire. Right, you could just go like this, right on the tip. Again, I'm going to try and hold it here like this. Tweezers. And in the hole. There we go. Now we can kind of bend it however we want. I think that would be good like that. There we go. That's one done. Let's get our second one. There. We'll do this guy next. He seems to be the next longest. And in he goes. And we're going to bend him kind of like this. Alright. Number 3. This is going nice and easy, which makes me a little worried. No, it doesn't make me worried. It's nice when things go easy. It's the other side that I feel is going to be the challenging one. Try and get them to kind of lay down like that. That's kind of perfect, I think. Okay. Let's get started on the other side. Just turning it around, deciding how am I going to hold this and hold these wires so that there's not too much pressure. This time I'm going to start the opposite. I'll start with the closest one. And let's move these. There we go. Lay them down. Okay. Take this guy. There we go. Oop, stay in your hole. There we go. This is where accelerator helps. Lay him down a little bit. Okay. We have this guy. Just like that. Alright, so we've got 6 of them done. We've got to do the last ones. This guy, I think he's going to be long enough to do here. So, you can kind of see where I've already had it on there. So what I want to do to help this process is put some of my accelerator on here, on the distributor cap, and I'll dip the wire in CA glue and then line it up with that one peg on the distributor, or at least I'm going to try. There we go. Attempt to add a little more glue to it. It's kind of going just underneath the supercharger there, so that's good. Now, this again is where is going to be the challenge, because I want to hold it here, but I need to hold it back here, so I'm going to have to try and do this and bring it up now. That, and kind of put a little bend in it. Like this. Okay. I think I'm in a good spot for mounting that. I almost cut it too short. But we're in. Just like that. Okay. 7th wire installed. So, one more to go. This one might be actually too long. I may have to trim this one down. It's just, yeah, he's way too long. So he's going to come off of this here, or I could do this. No, I want to have the same direction. Same relative direction. Which means he's going to go here. come around this, and then bend down into here like that. It's just a little too long, so I want to take maybe just a couple millimeters off of them, just like that, just to clean them up a little bit. Okay, so same technique as the other wire. I'm going to put some accelerator down so it's wet. Get this guy into a relative position that I want him in on my tweezer, and shove him in here, kind of like that. Perfect. Okay, attempt to add a little more glue to it. Yeah, see, that's the problem with that. Okay, accelerator again. This is the problem when you're not actually putting them into like any kind of a hole. You're just relying on the glue holding it there. So, and even with CA glue, sometimes you have to wait a minute for it to dry. I think we're good now. So, glue in the hole. Glue on the end. And we're going to try and hold it here. Get this guy. Slide in there. There you go. Perfect. And just for added measure, CA glue everywhere. There we go. Our spark plug wires are on. Nice. Very nice. Okay. So, what I was mentioning before with the fuel lines, I'm going to be using lead wire for that, or aka solder. I've got a few different thicknesses in my arsenal. This is 1 millimeter here, and then I've got this stuff. This is 0.6 millimeter. So it's all different sizes depending on what I want to try and go with. If this was a top fuel engine, I would definitely want to go with the bigger stuff. But I think this one might be good. 0.6, and that might go through the holes nice and easy. Yeah, it goes through there perfect. So let's get a length taken off here. I don't think I need this much, but it's better to have more than to not have enough. I'd definitely rather have more than not enough. Now, kind of what I need to do is figure out my lengths that I need. Is I'm going to make 4 lengths. Okay, so basically I'll run it through here like that, and it's going to go back. I'm going to run it back to around this spot here, right? And we got to do that 4 times. Okay. So we start here. Start with the shortest one. Like this. And we'll give her a bend. Like that. And like this. Right at the edge. Pull it a little bit tight. We want it fairly tight. And I think that's not going to be enough. I need to make a bend in it a little bit further. So, nice thing about this stuff, pull it out of there, straighten it out again. There's a couple different ways you can straighten it out. If you've got something that's flat and long, you can roll it with that. I'm going to attempt to use my fingers, or maybe the flat part of this. Roll for me. I want to try and keep it as straight as I can. Okay. So I want it a little further out this time. I'd rather have more. That's better. That's more of a length I can use, I think. Okay. Okay. And this stuff is soft too, so it cuts really easy. Now, got to think about roughly the same for the next hole. Okay, which is going to be about there. That's how much we want sticking out. Okay. Next hole. Something like that. Way too much, but that's fine. Again, I'd rather have way too much. Okay, on to the third one. Okay, and then we don't have enough for this one, so we need to get some more. This one we can just kind of leave like that. And so we've got our 8 fuel injection lines. Just like that. Now I could glue them in right now, just like that. And gluing them in will help in keeping them where they need to be, because of you need to bend them in. I need to make a little block, okay? a little block for these to go into. Okay, so there's our lines. Yeah, there's all our lines right there. Okay, just like that. And they're all going to go back like that. So I think I will glue them in. Put a dab of glue and then lay it down into position. I think that's what I'm going to do. That one down like that. And this one down on top. That one down. And finally, that one. Okay, so again, it doesn't really matter so much. This is kind of like, I don't know if this is classified as scratch building or not. Okay, so I'm just going to let that set. And I need to get some piece of styrene or something. I need to build a little block. I think this stuff will work. This is item number 153. They are just little square rods. Okay, one pack of this is going to last me my lifetime for the amount of scratch building that I do. I need to take this and cut a little length. Let's see here. I think what I'll do is I'll just do this, that, put this back away, and that. So technically what I want to do is I want to drill 4 holes into this guy. Now if I can, I want to do holes side by side like that. This thing should not be huge. This should only be maybe this big, just a square block like that, and that's all I want. But because of how I have to drill the holes, that's going to be the challenge. And this thing is very close to being that big, and so the wire, if I actually had the ability to drill just big enough for these to go through, these might fit. I might be able to do 2 holes side by side, but I think realistically I'm going to do 1 hole and fit 2 of them in like this on one side, right? Just because of the size of this. Alternatively, I could double this up, and I could try doing that. Let me try doing that. Let me get another length of it. Okay, do this. I'm going to glue these 2 together. Okay, I'll glue 2 together like this, and that will make life easier. The trick is going to be making sure they are actually perfectly flat together. Try and minimize any kind of a seam. Okay, pretty good. Not bad, not bad. Okay, so I do want to let this cure, so let's leave that aside and move on. I wanted to get our little butterflies painted on this guy while it's off of the engine, because while it's on the engine it just makes it a little bit harder to do. Now, looking at still pictures of the car that they used for the movie, you'd want to paint these red. But then when you actually watch the movie, they actually show these things up close and personal when he's in the street, and they show them flapping as he revs the engine, and they're black. So again, trying to make this movie accurate, we're going to paint these black. Okay? So, and they don't even look like they're gloss black. They look flat black in the movie. So I'm going to use LP or XF1 flat black and paint these black. I'll try out my brand new brush. I just got this from Sunward Hobbies, and I don't even know how to pronounce that. Abiltung 502 00 tip. I'm gonna try this out. Brand new brush. Dip that in there. I always find painting butterflies a little bit of a challenge. Sorry for my head. Painting butterflies are a challenge because of all the chrome around it. You get so many reflections of other parts. And then sometimes you have, because of the reflection on these, you think you've painted in a spot you don't want to, and you really haven't. And then sometimes you have painted in a spot, and you think it's just a reflection. Like I just accidentally touched the top of the hood on this with my brush, so I'll have to wipe that off after. There we go. Just touching up a little bit here. Okay, butterfly's done. And that should given us enough time for the glue to cure a little bit. Let's clean out that little spot that I touched. That's better. There, looks a little bit better. Yuala, good morning. Building a muscle car today? Yes, it is. It's this one here, the Fast and Furious, 1970 Dodge Challenger, Dominic's Challenger, or not Challenger, Charger, the Dominic's Charger. So, that's done. Butterflies are painted. Let's move on back to this thing. Let's try and drill 4 little holes. And try and get them relatively the same. Ideally, I'd like to drill this on top of a piece of wood so that when it goes through, everything's good. I don't have a piece of wood though. You can substitute a piece of cardboard. I don't want to drill down into this because it just makes too big of a hole. But a nice little piece of cardboard would be good. I could do this. Let's try this. This is the thing I normally spray stuff on. Spray my small parts. This one I don't care so much if I get into the cardboard. There we go. We're definitely through. Okay. So there's one little hole. Now let's try and get one relatively the same level. And like I said, if I accidentally go and make one big hole, that's okay. But if I can, I want to get 2 side by side. I basically want to make 4 holes. Yeah, see, it wants to travel down into that. So let's go a bit of an angle here so that I can start a second hole and then go down. So I don't really have 2 holes. It kind of just, I have an oval. I have 2 holes that are trying to be 1. So I got 1 oval hole, but that's okay. I'll clean up some of the burr on this side. Clean up my hole. Clean up my hole. You gotta keep your hole clean. Nobody wants a dirty hole. No one likes a dirty hole. Okay, so that's going to be good for 2 of these lines. Or should I say 4, technically. And now I'm going to do 2 more holes. I'm going to try, let's try doing this. Do a bit of a pilot hole with my knife. Right here. This. And then right here like this. We'll see if that helps get 2 separate holes here. There's one. I had more success there, but because of the thinness of the plastic and the thinness of between these 2 holes, it really just is going to make 4. And that's going to make this block a little bit big, but that's okay. I do kind of kind of turning it into a one big hole too. Got that little sliver of plastic in between the two holes, making one hole perfect. It moves that plastic over to the other side and makes the other hole not perfect. But that's okay. We're gonna make sure. The main thing is that I got all 8 of these able to fit in those holes. 2 on each side on all 4. Okay, so now I'm going to trim this so that it's a little block. So it looks like one big square piece. That's the main goal of this guy. I'm going to trim this down here like that. Right about there, I think it's good. There we go. Alright, so that's scrap, or it's a spare in case I screw this one up. I haven't got the top of this quite flat, so I want to file it down a little bit. I want it square. That looks better. Okay. Alright, so let's get rid of this garbage there. So, the main thing now that we have these, we need to get these bent in so that instead of them all sticking out, they're all going to curve in. Okay, and curve in from this side and go, because that block, we want to have that block sitting right about here. Okay. So now the trick is to get these guys in this block. Okay, so I'm going to try and start with our shortest ones. See, now that I have these all glued, it's a bit of a challenge. But the nice thing is I only have one side glued. It allows me to kind of bend these out and get them temporarily out of the way a little bit. Like this. Okay. And these ones I can bend in. So I'll try and, again, get these kind of out of the way so I can do one at a time. Start with the shortest one. Bend him in like that. Now if they're too long and I need to trim, well that's the nice thing about this lead wire is it's easy to cut. Okay. Which I can already tell you our first one is too long on this side, right? So let's give it a little trim. There we go. Okay, so let's grab the tweezers. This guy's going to go like this, and he's going to sit right there. He's freaking huge block. So maybe I want him down at the back of the blower here, because it's a huge block and I don't want that. I don't like that it's so huge, but there's not much. I could try having him like this, and that might be better. A little more realistic maybe. I mean it's huge and there's nothing I can do about it. It's a huge block. It might be better to try and do one big hole in the middle. I am going to actually try that. I'm going to see how that works. So I'm going to take this other block that is my spare, and I'm just going to do one big hole with this right in the middle there, and let's see if I can get this thing down get a little smaller, more realistic size. If I can get it as a realistic size, so that's just too big. Real life, that thing is just a little square block. If I can get all 8 into that little hole, then I think that's better. Let's clean this hole up here. Try and minimize the excess. See, that's already a better size, like that, compared to this, right? If I can get them all going into this one, or at least looking like they're all going in, then I think my job is done. If I can get this guy to just kind of sit on the back here like this, I think that's good. So let's bend these out. I think what I'm going to do to make my life easier is I'm going to glue him down first on the back of the blower there. So to do that, I'm just going to dip him in CA glue. Glue him down like that. Try and get them straight. See, even CA glue doesn't always, it likes to glue to things you don't want it to. Add a little extra. Right there. Obviously not quite glued down. There. A little bit of accelerator here. Let that dry for a sec. All right. So just to show you, I'm not putting it in a spot that's going to interfere. This guy goes on the back here like that. Right? So it doesn't interfere. Okay, so let's start by, again, let's get these out of the way here a little bit. Again, we want to try and keep these as straight as possible. These represent hard lines, right? They're not hoses. They're not rubber. So now I'm going to try and get this to go in that hole and go in as far as I can. Same with this side. There we go. Okay. Now, based on that, bring our second one over. And we want to bend it here and get an idea of how far it's going to go in. That's going to be way too long. I'm going to guess about that. I'll go right above it, right above our first line. Now, you don't get these all lined up at the same spot. That doesn't matter really. Now I'm still too long. I want to tuck this in, but I can't. So trim that off. That one's good. Nice thing about this lead wire is, compared to using, say, something like copper wire, the lead wire really stays in position where you put it. Okay, again, this one is too long. Not by very much though, just a little bit. Lead wire is really, I have to say, you know, I used to do everything with copper wire. And I must say, I'm liking the idea of lead wire for this kind of stuff. Because it's easy to move around and it's a little forgiving. There we go. Okay. Next up, this guy. I think we want to tuck him in close like this. Again, too long, so let's trim that off. Attempt to put him down in the hole. Here we go. And then I've got our fourth line over on this side. As you can see, it's way too long. Assuming I can actually get it in there, I might actually still have it too long. Yeah, still too long. So let's pull that back out. Trim that a little bit more. of them in on this side. Okay, let's get to work on this last side. Right about there, and trim. He's in. Okay, and here. Trim. Right now we've got lots of wire. We've got 8. We've got 7 other cables or lines going into this one little hole, and so that's the bit of the challenge now, is to get this last one in, because there are 7 other lines fighting for position inside this hole. And as I'm discovering, my little white block here is not quite glued on. So this last one doesn't really want to go. I kind of want to just leave it. But it doesn't look right. So let's pull that out, trim that down a little bit more. And we're going to go with that. Okay, now I need to glue these down. Need to glue this better and glue these lines on there. Okay. Oh, come on. Why do I gotta spill everything all the time? It's been my habit, it seems like, the last few days. Spill my stuff. At least this isn't paint thinner. And this stuff dries pretty quick. So, yeah. Okay. She's glued on, but she looks stupid because it's white, right? It's kind of hard to see. Everything's all chrome on the top there. But it's one of those little details. I know it's there, and I know this thing's got fuel going into it now. The other thing I need to do is maybe add a fuel line coming off the back here, maybe to trickle down underneath there, and kind of disappear somewhere. So I can do that with just another another lead wire, but I want to do a little bit thicker to show, hey, there's thicker fuel line going there. So I'm going to use the 1mm. And because it's going to just be hidden down somewhere in the engine, just do that. And maybe just kind of bend it here, like that. And just kind of have it go like this in the back there, like that. And just kind of have a little idea of where it's going. Sticking off like this, that actually might not be accurate here. Shoot, let's go a little bit tighter bend. Not a tighter bend, but let's straighten this out again. And I'm going to bend it with these. A nice, tight, sharp bend on that. Like that. A little bit better. We'll come off the back like this. And kind of come out like that. So I'm going to glue it here and here. Dab back here and here, where it's going to touch on the transmission. I want it glued in two spots. I don't want to just rely on it holding on our block at the top. Right? Definitely don't want to just rely on that. Okay, now let that dry. Now that we've played around with all that, we've got our fuel line and all that fun stuff, how this is going to look in the actual car. Something like this, right? Something like that. Let's pull the bottom chassis out. I don't know if I can mop this up at all in here. It sits this. I'll have to tuck this down. Looks like it sits at this spot here. Could actually tuck that up like this. So the engine sits like this. In there like that. The fuel line would technically come underneath the chassis. Does it really matter? Not really. The whole idea is just to show that there's some kind of fuel line going up there. There's something there that you see that's fuel going there. fuel line would probably more realistically come in beside the roof, beside the frame there. But I think that's good enough for my purposes anyway. I think I want to actually tuck it up in there a little bit tighter, but it does fit. It's not really interfering. And I could just bring this up like this, like that. And unless it's going to interfere with the floorboard, which is that other flat piece that goes in here, I don't think it interferes. I mean, it might be interfering. It's hard to tell whether it's interfering with the floorboard or not. Let's see. Let's do another test fit here. Get the engine out. Okay, so that definitely fits flush, and the engine in there was not letting it, so my fuel line is interfering with the floorboard. So let's try trimming our wire. Let's try trimming our line down here. See. Yeah, that's where it was, where the floorboard kind of meets here, and this little ridge coming up, that's where it sits flush, and that's where it was interfering. But now it makes a little sandwich. Our wire fits right there. Obviously I got to paint the bottom of the floorboard because we don't want that white showing through. Yeah, so we'll do that. One thing I could do if I really wanted to be realistic is I could run that wire all the way back. I could run it along the floorboard here, but remember, we still got to drill all this out back here. Still got to take care of this whole section here at the back to get that mocked up in there properly. So anyway, we're still continuing on the engine. We still got other stuff to do on it. Okay, I can now glue this down. Well, not yet. I got to paint my little white block, because that block should not be white. It should be chrome, just like the rest of it. So I'll use my Molotow liquid chrome. That's the best stuff I've seen to actually look like chrome. So I'll just use this brush here. Just a little dabs, really all I need. And paint our little guy chrome here. There we go. He's chrome. He's chrome. He's happy. I'm happy. Just like that. Clean my brush now. I might actually need that chrome in a minute to do the pulleys on the fan belt, which are about to go on the front of the engine. I've got to check my time and see how I'm doing here. Yeah. Okay, so let's look at what's next. What's next is gluing this guy on the top. glue on there. And on he goes. Just like that. Okay. Now realistically, I'm not sure where this fuel line will go. We're not even connected here anymore. So, I mean, it's good enough. I could tuck it in a little bit closer to the back of the head there like this, right? Tuck it in like that. I don't think I need to though, but yeah, as you can see, my glue did not hold down here at all. It's only held on top, but as long as I'm careful with it, it should be okay. So I can glue it to the chassis later. But what I'm going to do is, in the meantime, we've got this done. We've put the blower on top. We did all our extra stuff before getting onto our exhaust manifolds. So I need to paint those steel. I need to paint my fan belts and pulleys. I'm going to do the pulleys in chrome, and I'll do the fan belt black. I'll do that off camera. Our alternator is already chrome. Same with our main fan, our cooling fan. So off camera, I'll get these painted up, and then next time we'll get these installed. Okay? Get those installed next time, and then we're going to start working on the interior a little bit. That's going to be next. Okay? But I've got to get going, and so that means I'm going to end it here for now, and that's going to be it for today, guys. Fortunately, I didn't spill too much of that that stuff, but we're okay. We're okay. Yeah, I've got some extra little bits that can be thrown away, and so that's where I'm going to end it today, guys. I want to thank you guys for watching. Got a lot of crap on this. Thank you for watching. Thanks for coming out. If you check out in my description box down below, you're going to see some links, and you'll see links to my Instagram and to my Twitch channel, and you could watch me on Twitch, and you could actually talk to me, just like Uala did a little while ago. It's amazing how liquid things get into every little nook and cranny of stuff. Yeah, you can talk to me live, just like Uala did there, and yeah, if you felt like. Anyway, it's up to you. But this is where I'm going to leave it for now, guys, and so do some stuff in the background, and then we'll see you all in the next one.